anyone who couldn't make it will be able to watch the replay. So thank you so much for joining today. Oh, I have to click OK. We are so glad to have you here. Sharon and I go way back and have been friends for over 20 years and have found that our journeys have intertwined at this point, and we are excited to share this great topic with you about redefining fulfillment and creating balance and flexibility in your career. So going to walk through the agenda real quick. And we're going to first do some introductions of who we are, talk a little bit about the current landscape at work and in fulfillment in general. And then Sharon's going to walk us through the inner path to fulfillment. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about practical strategies for building flexibility into your life. And then we'll have an interactive Q&A and reflection exercise. Our objective today is to really help professionals redefine what fulfillment means in their careers. So understanding the power of balance in your life at home and at work, and exploring these strategies for building flexibility into your work life. So with no further ado, let's jump in. And Sharon, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jill. So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sharon Seaberg, and I'm an executive coach. And how I got into this is I myself experienced burnout. I was in the tech industry, and it was like 90 miles an hour, 24/7, right? And I experienced burnout. So I did a lot of self-exploring and trying to figure out what it is that really lit me up and what excited me. And I figured out it was personal development. So now I specialize in helping highly sensitive leaders step into their true potential with clarity, confidence, and purpose. So that's a little bit about me. And Jill, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, yes. Uh, I am a former campus recruiter, so used to recruit from college campuses, MBA programs specifically, turned career advisor, turned tech marketing manager for 14 years. And after having my son, decided I would like to work less than full time and found it just wasn't available. And so I am now on a mission to create more part-time professional opportunities for the people who want and need them through the company called Better Balance. And what we're doing right now is we're connecting people who want to work less than 40 hours a week with the employers who already see the value in that type of work. And then we're also educating employers that people want and need this type of work, and reducing the stigma around that, and educating employers that this is a type of work that a lot of employers aren't considering, and we want to show them the value and the benefits of doing so.
Thanks, Jill.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the current landscape of work and fulfillment right now. So, you probably hear this everywhere you go, and all the webinars, all the things, but life has really changed since the pandemic. And we all know that. We've all lived through it, and as it should, right? It was a very disruptive and traumatic experience, I think, for a lot of us in our work-life balance. But there's been a lot of great learnings that have come out of that as well. And so we're going to walk through 6 key trends that recent research shows are really important both for employers and employee satisfaction. First and foremost is this hybrid and remote work models. So a lot of organizations are moving to this hybrid model, and we're seeing that a lot at Better Balance as well, where very few employers are asking people to be in the office 5 days a week, and they're saying, hey, we need you to be there some number of days, pick the days that work for you. What I would also add on to that is figure out what works best for you. So for me, it's really important for me. I thrive in an office environment. I was working remote from home long before all the cool kids were doing it. So back in 2010, I ended up in a role where I was 100% remote. And I found that by the end of the day, I was exhausted and drained, and just getting edgy and crabby, and just didn't want to be there anymore. And I realized this was before the days of Zoom and video conferencing. So I was literally just, on a headset, looking at screens, using a chat, whatever, to connect with people. And so there was no face-to-face, there was no interaction. And as an extrovert, that was extremely draining for me. And then it didn't help. I worked for a company on the West Coast. And so they were scheduling meetings at, 3, 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock my time. And so I learned for me personally, that was not my best work environment. I am much better off going to an office, interacting with people. I get energy from people. And I also want the separation of work and home. I don't want to be in my house looking at the, laundry that still needs to be folded, or, my child's, toys that have piled up and haven't been dealt with. That is very distracting to me. But for other people, that they can mesh those things together really well. And so I would really encourage you to really think about, where do you feel the most fulfilled when you are working, and when you think about the workplace, like you're literally like the space that you're working in, picture yourself. And I want to actually take a few seconds right now actually to go through this exercise. And if you have a pad of paper, pencil, and pen, to write down, when you picture yourself working in an office, do you feel excitement? Do you feel focus? Do you feel energy? Does it feel like a place where you can be productive? Or does it feel like a place of distraction, a place where you have to interact with people that you don't want to interact with, and you want to be able to just get your work done? I want you to think and kind of sit with that for a minute. And then I want you to think about being at home. And what does working at home look like for you? Does it feel like a quiet space where you can really focus and work on projects? Or does it feel like chaos and there's a lot of things coming at you and a lot of stimuli? So really kind of sit with that, if not right in this moment, maybe later on, really thinking about, where are you the most productive, and where do you feel like you're getting the most done? Sharon, I'll pass to you.
Yeah, thanks. And the second big trend that we're seeing is this, there's some focus on well-being and mental health. I think that's huge thanks to COVID, because people realize that that is important, and it is something that we need to pay attention to. So there's a growing recognition of the importance of mental health in the workplace. Companies are investing in mental health resources and support programs. And then another one around this theme is burnout. People are experiencing burnout because they're trying to do everything, right? You're trying to be the best mom, the best husband or wife and employee, and all the other projects you have going on in your house, and right, and how do you balance it all, right? So there's high levels of burnout have been reported, especially among remote workers, because kind of back to what Jill was saying. And again, it kind of goes back to your personality. Do you need your own space, or do you get energy from being around people? So organizations are exploring ways to mitigate this through policies and programs that promote well-being. So let's jump into the next. Jill, did you want to talk about the next one?
I do. And I want to add on one thing too, with about being remote, that the burnout that we're seeing with more remote workers. I know one of the things that when people first started working remote in the mid 2000s, and I started talking to people, and they talked a lot about having a hard time shutting down, that they would wake up and immediately go get on their computer. And then they would have a hard time shutting down, or they'd walk by their home office and hear their email ding, and they'd be like, well, let me see what that was. And they were being pulled back in. And I think that's where some of that burnout is really coming from, is people not being able to, or not wanting to put those boundaries in place that say, okay, I don't start work until 8 or 8:30. And even if I am up at 6, if there's not some meeting or something I need to be doing, that's my time. That's my time to go, work out, or, have quiet time, or read, or whatever it is you want to do. But not really being able to establish those boundaries helps, I think, with the burnout as well. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
So purpose and meaning in work is also something that is really become evident with a lot of people since the pandemic, and is really understanding, what kind of work do I want to do? Where do I where are my values versus the work that I'm doing, whether it's the organization, the industry, the actual work that you're doing, does it align with who you are and your, what the values that are important to you? And do you have a sense of purpose? That's becoming really important to people. And then also, social responsibility, understanding, like, does my organization support that? Are we doing the right things for the world? Sharon.
Yeah. And so the fourth big trend is around technology and automation. I know you've all maybe played with AI, but it is huge as far as saving time and efficiency. And one of the things I really teach my clients is knowing what your resources are that are available to you and really leveraging your resources instead of trying to do everything yourself. So really look at your resources. And so AI has this tremendous opportunity to help you do your job more efficiently. And even Jill and I were joking about how AI just, like, in the past when we wanted to do research about like burnout or flexible roles, all this kind of stuff, you would have to go to the library, encyclopedia, right? This is before the internet. And like, think about how much the internet improved our lives, and now we have AI. Like, it's mind-blowing and how much efficiency it would help you do your job in all different kinds of ways. So really begin to embrace it, and don't fear it, and treat it with respect. Like, like when you're writing things in, please and thank you, and you'll get that back. Whatever energy you're putting out is what you're getting back. And then last but not least within the section is these collaborative tools. So more and more, and we're on this today, Zoom, right? It's amazing. In fact, we have several collaborative tools here. We have Zoom and we have Google Slides. So Jill and I put this slide deck together remotely, just working together on Google. So a lot of fun things that allow a lot of flexibility. So let's jump to the next slide.
Yeah, so the next one is diversity, equity, inclusion. And this one, has been since, 2019, 2020, it's had a huge, resurgence, entire teams and organizations. Now there's some little retraction. I think the thing that I really want to focus on here is that companies are focusing on creating more inclusive work environments. And we at Better Balance are really advocating for this as well as we talk with employers and really saying, you need to kind of consider everybody in your organization and their needs as they are a contributing member of your teams. And so how do they best perform? What do they need? And really looking at, okay, if you've got somebody who's working full time and they're pulling their hair out trying to juggle their full-time job, their full-time life as a mom or parent, their full-time chef, a full-time taxi driver, a full-time housekeeper. I mean, all the different roles. And what is that? Like Sharon was saying, how does that leave a person? That leaves them trying to do so many different things, and you just can't do all those jobs and do them well. And so then you start to be in this cycle of feeling like you're failing in more than one area, or guilt ridden, like, wow, I'm just not very good at that. I'm not doing a good job. Well, it's not possible. There's only 24 hours in the day. And so really looking at people and saying, okay, where are they in their stage of life, and what kind of work schedule flexibility works for them. And so I think that's how I really want to see companies look at DEI, and really also embracing the value that different groups of people bring to the organization. For example, as women, when we come into the workforce, we should embrace what makes us unique about women. Our innate ability to communicate and collaborate and to be empathetic. Many times women come into the workforce and try to act like a man. and to have those types of behaviors, and that's counterproductive to the value. It can be counterproductive to the value that we're actually providing in the workforce. And so as you look at diversity, teams flourish when you have a diversity of views and opinions and styles, work styles. And so employers really are looking at how to embrace that. And then also different stages in your career, right? So some people are early career and they're looking to work, and learn as much as they can. And then others are, in the later stages of their career, and they still want to keep using their brain and their education and their experience. And they also want to have time for the other things that they enjoy. So I think really when you're looking at, employers are looking at that diversity, they need to be looking at the ages and stages of their workforce and the value that they all bring.
Yeah, it's a great point. And then last but not least is this focus on career development and learning. So this is a big trend. And so because technology is changing so fast, the work environment is changing so fast, the need and the desire to up-level your skills is rising. So as you want to grow your career, really look at what skills do I want to learn? What excites me? Where do I want to focus that, right? And what would round off what I currently am doing, and how do I up level? And then mentorship and support. More and more people are getting coaches, mentors, and that really, really helps shift your mindset from a fixed mindset to what opportunities are in front of me. How do I change the way I'm looking at something to see the opportunities that are right here in front of me? A great mentor or coach can really help you do that and grow faster and enjoy your work. And so next slide we have here is Jill and I recently had a booth at the Texas Women's Conference. It was a lot of fun. And we did a little informal survey in our booth. We had people come in and we asked them the question, what do you need to have more fulfillment at work? And overwhelmingly, everyone had two different types of responses. And one of them is a work environment. They need a different work environment, and they needed professional growth and development opportunities. And then they needed work-life balance and personal well-being. So I'm going to talk about the work-life environment. So some of the things they said was they wanted to enjoy their work and have a happy team environment. They wanted a boss that read their emails and acknowledged them, right? And then the ability to feel safe in every sense of the word, clear career advancement, and a supervisor and department that values the growth, and support for advancement opportunities and exposure, and then opportunities outside of your comfort zone so they can grow, right, and build these skills and networks. And then last but not least in this category is, of course, money. Like, people are working because they want more and more money and opportunities. And Jill, do you want to cover the work-life balance?
I do, yeah. So we were also really interested to see people were looking to have more fun at work and to have a less stressful job. I think, again, people are recognizing, life is short and let's do things that are fulfilling and enjoyable and are good use of my time. They also noted some really interesting kind of outdoor nature things, like go on more walks, touch some grass, sunlight. And these are like literally things people wrote on our board. Like, we didn't come up with this. And so we started to see that trend. And I don't know if it was because we were indoors in a convention center that they were writing those things, or if it truly is like, wow, when I'm working from home, I don't step away enough. Or when I'm in the office, I'm in a cube farm and I can't even see a window. And so, really, I think we're going to talk about strategies to address some of these things. And then, for some people, it was the ability to be able to be more engaged in their family life.
Thanks, Jill. So next, I want to talk about the inner path to fulfillment. So if you will, put in chat, what does fulfillment mean to you? like almost answer that question that we asked the women at the Texas Women Conference, like, what do you need to feel more fulfillment? If you would, feel free to put it in chat. Um, see the chat. Oop, sorry. There we go. Here's the chat. I couldn't find the chat. So Robin, thank you for that response. I enjoy working for someone with a purpose. Oh, I love that one. I totally love that one. So, you know, for many years, or I guess most of our society, we've been taught to equate fulfillment with external achievements like titles and promotions and financial success. But true fulfillment really goes deeper than that. You know, it's really about aligning your values and your purpose and your authentic desires with your job, right? And as professionals and leaders, we often find ourselves chasing these goals that don't actually bring us a deeper satisfaction. So, what can we do about it? So, it really starts with redefining what fulfillment means to ourselves, and not just what society expects, but what really truly resonates with us personally. So, you know, in my coaching practice, I've seen how common emotional and mental or mindset blocks can keep people from feeling unfulfilled. Things like fear of failure, self-doubt, old stories we've told ourselves about what we can or we can't do. And these blocks often come from, you know, past experiences or society expectations or even the pressure to do it all. But the good news is, once we kind of identify what some of these blocks are, we can begin to break through them. So, does this resonate with you guys? Yeah, thank you. So, the next thing I want to talk about really is aligning with your true self. And so, what does this mean, your true self, right? You may have heard that term thrown around. And to me, really what it means is being able to recognize what it is that you really want. What is your true desires? And shift from making decisions out of fear and into making decisions out of what really lights you up, what makes you feel good. Like really following your intuition and aligning yourself with your true self, right? So take a moment to connect to yourself personally. I'm going to guide you through a more reflective exercise here. So if you have a piece of paper or if you just want to think about it, that's fine as well. I want you to think about your current career path and ask yourself, does it feel aligned with who you truly are? Does your work light you up? Meaning, does it, you know, like excite you, like to jump out of bed, or you know, do you simply feel like you're going through the motions? And what would need to change for you to feel more fulfilled and aligned with your true self? I'll give you just a moment to really kind of think about that. Write down some things that come to mind. It could be small adjustments or big shifts, like whatever comes to mind, let it guide you. And this exercise is about giving yourself permission to evaluate your purpose, free of judgment. And when we ask ourselves these like deeper questions, we start to get some clarity about what we really want. Let me give you guys just a moment. is I get a text from my daughter who's leaving for college and asking me, trying to call me. Okay. Thank you guys for thinking through that. Now that we've touched on the fulfillment alignment, let's talk something that's equally important about emotional resilience. So navigating our careers and making big shifts towards more fulfilling path isn't always easy, right? It can bring up these feelings of uncertainty, fear, and discomfort, which is really why this emotional resilience is key. Emotional resilience allows you to really stay grounded and confident even when challenges arise. One of the most powerful tools in building resilience is clarity, knowing what you truly want and why it matters. So without this clarity, you can easily get derailed by doubt, self-sabotage, right? Or external pressures like, no, don't do that. We need financial stability, or we need, you know what I mean? So it's really getting more and more clear about what it is that you want and allowing that to pull you forward. So one way to build that clarity is through practices like journaling. So take time to regularly ask yourself, like, what is it that I truly want? What is holding me back? And journaling really helps you get these thoughts out of your head and into paper, where you can reveal insights that you didn't really realize that you had. And then another really good tool that I love is meditation. It allows you to quiet your mind and connect with your intuition and really uncover the wisdom that sometimes gets buried under all the stress and overthinking. And then lastly, working with a coach can really help you get some of this clarity and shift some mindsets, right? And structured coaching frameworks are designed to really help you dig deep into these questions and provide you the support that you need to really stay resilient and really learn how to process your emotions and take steps from a place of what you truly want versus this fear, right? And then so by focusing on emotional resilience and gaining clarity, you can give yourself the strength and direction to move forward in your career and a life that truly fulfills you. So I'm going to pass this over to Jill, and I'm going to put myself on mute because I am getting a call from my daughter. Hold on.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yes, no, so this has been great. I still, every time I'm with Sharon, I'm like sitting here taking my own notes because I still learn so much from her. And it is great because she and I walked similar path when we were both leaving our corporate jobs, and we would sit down and be like, wow, I feel so unfulfilled with what I'm doing. Like, yeah, me too. And you just having those conversations with somebody and then watching her just really grow and get so well educated on how to help others. Like I said, I'm like always taking notes. I'm like, wait, say that again, Sharon. What'd you say? So let's shift a little bit about, so what are some of these strategies as you look at what makes you, like, what brings you fulfillment? Does anyone want to share real quick, like while you, like, do you guys want to share any thoughts or any epiphanies you had while Sharon was talking about fulfillment and what that looks like? You can come off mute and share.
I just wrote a couple things down. I like being able to see tangible results from the things I'm doing. So whether it be, supporting someone, being able to, you know, I love checking things off lists, but also being able to see the results, how they affect the business. That really, makes me feel fulfilled.
That's great. Yeah. And I think back and I apply that to my corporate life. And I know there were definitely times where I didn't feel that, right? Where I was like, oh man, I don't feel like the work I'm doing is actually have. And then there were other times where it was like, oh yeah, I can directly correlate the work that I'm doing and how it relates to the bigger picture. Sharon, I asked if they had anything they wanted to share after your, the exercise that you just walked us through.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And so, yeah, so Robin was sharing that, she really likes being able to check things off her list and say, hey, I did this, I did this, and this, and then to be able to see the work that I do, or the work that I did impacted the business in this way. So yeah, Jean, do you have any thoughts, any ideas you want to share? It's okay if you don't, but I want to.
Well, I can relate to all this, but my career is back there someplace, you know. I'm really not looking for a career, but yet at the same time, I think I've got a lot still to give. And it's frustrating because I'm in a position where nobody wants that. I've always been somebody that had a lot of interests, you know. I want to do everything. And I still can't accept the fact that I can't do that. You know, multitasking is my way of life. And I get bored easily. I need change. I need a challenge. And right now I'm in a position where I don't have any of that.
Mm.
And I'm at an age where people say, well, you need to be slowing down, dude, take it easy, lay back, chill. That's not me. And when my plate is full, that's when I'm the happiest.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to struggle to balance my work and the rest of my life, that's when I'm the most productive and I'm the best person. When I have too much time in my hands to sit around and think, that's bad. That's real bad.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking with someone yesterday and they said, when I start to feel bored at work too much, that's when I start updating my resume.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
it sounds
I
like
can relate to
you can
that.
relate
Yeah.
to that. Yeah, exactly. Well, so let's talk about, because I think, I think there are more people that don't feel bored at work and instead are really striving for how do I get more balance in my life? And, there's practical benefits to the flexibility that we are advocating for. It's it's essential to enhancing employee satisfaction and productivity. And I think a lot of employers don't realize that the benefits to employers are that you will get increased productivity out of people, efficiency, longevity, and loyalty. What we find is that when people are in a part-time professional role or a flex employee role, that they're less likely to leave that company or that organization because they're able to have the flexibility and basically the work-life structure that they want, right? So they're like, hey, what they're working 20, 25, 30 hours a week. And then that allows them the time to go take care of the other things in their life, whether it's the aging parents or children, or maybe it's a hobby or volunteering. I mean, there's the reasons that people want and need this are various. And then also the benefits that there are to employees, right? Just the ability to be more present for everything. And instead of trying to be full-time, like we were talking about earlier, the full-time chef, the full-time taxi driver, the full-time employee, instead of trying to be all of those things, you can basically segment your life a little bit more and say, this is when I'm at work and this is when I'm caring for this part of my life. And one of the things that we had at the Texas Conference for Women was a graph for people to, tell us what they would do if their time if they worked less than 40 hours a week. And the majority of the people said they would actually take care of themselves and their own like physical and mental health. And I was really surprised by that. And the options we gave them were, being with family, helping with aging parents, taking care of themselves, or going back to school or starting a business. And the majority were like, I need to take better care of myself. And so it was interesting just to see that. And so then, creating that balance in your career, there are some really actionable steps that you can take that we'll go ahead and dive into next here. So, as we look at, Sharon, if you'll go to the next slide for me. As we look at what are some of these practical strategies, what we're really encouraging employers is to not look at how many hours someone's sitting at work, but what is the job you're asking them to do? What are the responsibilities? What's the work that needs to get done? And paying for getting the results oriented work versus butts and seats. Like, let's not focus on how many hours did it take you to do that work, because if you're really good at what you do and you are a seasoned professional, you can probably do it a lot faster than you did when you were 22 or 23. And so does that mean you should have to, sit at the desk for 40 hours or more just to prove, hey, I'm here? Or can you just be more efficient with your time because you're now a subject matter expert? So focusing on those outcomes, focusing on getting the work done versus the hours. We talked a lot about hybrid work policies. A lot of employers are looking at, implementing that, offering that. There are also some businesses who are looking at core hours for collaboration, especially if you're a national organization where you're spanning different time zones. So looking at, we have one employer that we work with, and they've said, hey, everyone needs to be available from 11 to 2 Central. Those are considered, team working hours. And so that's, 9 to noon in West Coast, that's 12 to 3 in East Coast. And of course, I asked the question because I am very focused on balance. Like, well, wait, what about lunch? That's like right in the middle of lunchtime. So do you have to eat lunch before or eat lunch after? And she said, no. Of course you can go take lunch. But understanding that in those 3 hours is when we're going to try and have meetings and do collaboration, and when we're all going to try to be working at the same time, so that you don't have these issues of, oh, I'm trying to schedule a meeting when you're not available, when you're not working. And her entire team majority of her team is part-time. And so that's how they manage that. So I love how employers are getting really creative around this. And then setting boundaries, right? We talked about how great tech is, but also really learning to have some agreed upon boundaries on how, and guidelines on how these tools are going to be used. Setting a guideline that says, you're not expected to respond to a Slack message every time it comes in, or when are the times when it's that you're, expected, or, just being able to put on your out of office, or I'm at lunch, it's okay to step away. And so building that into the workplace. Sharon, going to the next one, number 3 is, really encouraging people to take time off, and then as an employee actually taking that time off. I love this concept of mandatory time off. So implementing policies that require people to take vacation days. I know one of the companies I worked for, if you accrued too much vacation time, they would actually force you to take it and say, you need to go on vacation. You've accrued this much vacation. You haven't gone. You're going to burn out. Go. I don't want to see you leave. I love that. I love that employers recognize that that's a thing. And then unlimited PTO. This is, I think, harder for some employers, but really looking at what happens when you offer unlimited PTO. I think there's a perception that people will take advantage of that. And I think what you find is actually people sometimes take less PTO when it's unlimited than they do when it's, boxed in. So just really also looking though at what makes sense for people and the roles that they're doing and the contributions they're making to the organization, and what do you want the culture of the organization to be? To that point, we also personalize work arrangements. So allowing employees to tailor their roles based on their strengths and preferences. So this is right up our alley in Better Balance. And what we want to say to employers is, if you've got an employee who's working 40 plus hours a week and they really would like to scale back so they can take care of something else in their life, really sitting down with them and saying, okay, here are all your job responsibilities. Which of these do you feel like when you do them, you are just working in your zone of genius? And what are the things that you're like, yeah, when I do that, it's really hard for me. It's very time consuming. It's not my strength. Let's peel those off and let's give those to somebody else that is their zone of genius, right? And that's where I think you can really also kind of look at this job sharing, but really saying, I like to think of it as like job partitioning. So you take an entire role and you say, okay, 25 hours of this role is going to be focused on this, and this is, you know, Robin's area of expertise. And then the other 15 hours is going to be these things. And oh, look, by the way, we found Gene who has those exact skills, and that's what he really enjoys doing. So now you've got two people who have the flexibility that they want, and all the responsibilities of the role are covered. But I'm also really big in if you're job sharing, that you have job division so that you can create accountability and flexibility, because I think it's really important for some people to feel like this is the work that I own and I'm responsible for. Also, then you don't end up with this, you know, finger pointing of like, well, I thought they were doing it. Oh, I thought you were doing it. No, these are the things that you own. These are your responsibilities and you're accountable for them. Number 5 is moving to the next slide. Regular check-ins. So having one-on-one meetings with your management and your team to really understand your workload, your challenges. I know in most of my tech roles, I had regular one-on-ones to see where I was with things, how were things going, and creating that feedback loop to say, hey, I feel overwhelmed, or wait, I have room on my plate. Like, what else does the team need me to help with? And then also being able to create anonymous feedback channels to gather insights on flexibility. I think there's really a perception with a lot of people who are striving to have better work-life balance, that if they raise their hand and ask for this, that they're going to be on the next layoff list. And I really think that we need to remove that stigma from both employers and employees, and be able to say, you know, just because someone is wanting or needing to work less than 40 hours a week doesn't mean they're not motivated, doesn't mean they're not dedicated. It doesn't mean that they're not excited about the work they're doing. They most of the time want to do that role and the work that's being asked of them, or that they've signed up for, and be available for other things. So this is not a either or, it's a yes and. And then really looking at training and development, helping employers to understand that people need help figuring this out. What are some of the time management and work-life balance workshops and resources that employers could be offering? One thing too, that's I think a real misnomer, is that people who want to work less than 40 hours a week, that they don't want to have promotions. They don't want to grow. They don't want to upskill. And that's absolutely false. And so I think employers really need to be considering that as well, as how do I grow this person? Even if they're working 25 or 30 hours a week, how do I make sure that they are, you know, growing in their career and in their skills? And then again, promoting a culture of trust, empowering employees to manage their schedules and responsibilities without micromanaging. And this goes back to the earlier point of just saying, hey, I'm paying you to get this job done, not for being in your chair staring at your computer for X number of hours a week. And then really kind of celebrating these teams that are leveraging flexible work environments, and giving them the visibility within an organization to say, look at what this team is doing and look at how well it's working. And being able to share that with other teams in an organization so that it defeats some of those negative stigmas that come with some of the work-life flexibility. And there's just 2 more. Looking at family and caregiver support. So really understanding, what do people need for caregiving responsibilities as the baby boomers age, and they're one of our larger generations. Those of us in Gen X and Millennial and Gen Z are going to need to spend more time interacting and engaging with our aging parents, and being there to help with that, to help them, you know, paying for care and all those things that go with that is expensive. And so the more that you can be there to assist with those things, and the more that your employers can be supportive of that, the better. And then childcare assistance is also another challenge. Ensuring that, you know, childcare is available for people who want and need it, but also looking at if someone is only working 20 hours a week, are there childcare options available for them? And that's a real area of where we want to educate childcare providers that we may have more people who are going to work this way, and we need the childcare options to align with that and to reflect that type of work as well. I know a lot of our candidates have told us, like, look, I want to work less than 40 hours a week. I'd love to work 25 hours a week. I can't find childcare for 25 hours. It's either full-time or nothing. And so we need to do some work there to educate childcare providers that this is a need. And then wellness programs, mental health days. Early on in my career, I was getting pretty burnt out, and my employer said, you need to go take a mental health day. And she literally said, don't come in tomorrow. And I love that. I love when a manager can identify that someone needs a break and needs to step away. And I know a lot of employers are also offering fitness and health programs to help, build in that wellness capacity at work. So when we talk to organizations, we want them to realize that these are all components that can help create a flexible work environment that meets the diverse needs of their employees. Not everyone wants to work less than 40 hours a week, but for some that do. And some of these strategies can also just help keep people feeling more balanced in their work and their home life. All right, Miss Sharon.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot here today. So we've covered the benefits of flexibility and creating balance and fulfillment in your career, and some actionable steps that Jill just covered. Really wanted to give you guys a chance to ask any questions. You have two experts here now available to help answer any questions and kind of think through or talk through any things. And Jean, I wanted to address one of the things that you mentioned too. You said your career's behind you. Yeah, it's a beautiful time in your life where you get to step in and really kind of create what is fun for me to do. Like, how am I giving and creating and giving back and still using all this incredible experience that you've gotten throughout your life, right? And how do I best be this mentor, and using your skills to continue to create. So it's such a fun exploration, to figure out what you want to.
It can be fun. It's not fun. It hasn't been fun.
Well, it can be
It's been a
fun.
struggle. I have two problems. One is the age, and I can't do anything about that. The other is my background is in industry. There's no industry in Austin. We don't make things here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You go up to Dallas, Fort Worth, and they make every kind of product you can think of.
mm-hmm,
And for me, I've accepted the fact that I'm going to have to move. It's not working for me here, and I don't think it's going to work. I've been
mm-hmm.
through this once before in Austin, but
Yeah,
it's I agree. It should be a time when I can I can leverage that experience. I've got 4 degrees.
yeah,
I've got a good education, but I'm a round peg in a square hole, or a square peg in a round hole, whatever it is.
right.
It's not a fit here, and just got to make change.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to, so those are all the things that you are experiencing and you've felt, and I have a lot of compassion, and they may be true on one level, but they're also limiting beliefs that can hold you back. So look at some of those things and question it. Is there really not industry in Austin? Is there really not, can I not use remote technology to share my expertise in Austin? Like, kind of just allow yourself to explore. Just getting curious is what's going to serve you the best. How can I best use my experience? Who needs it the most? And then just start networking and things like that. And I would love to explore it with you. Explore, getting curious with yourself.
Hmm.
So, yeah, just wanted to address that since you had put that out there earlier in our. And so if anyone has any questions. Can, all right, thank you. And then, so last, we wanted to invite you into this further exploration, right? And so for myself, I have a service that will help you get clarity on what it is you want, like beautiful time in your life for both Robin and Jean and anyone here listening on the replay to get really clear about what's on my heart to go do. And then really look at the skills and building that confidence and knowing that that desire is yours to go do, right? And then like all that stuff kind of leads to a purpose and helping you. And that purpose, once you really embody that, that will pull you forward and you'll come up with these creative ways to do things. And then last, I can help you build your personal brand around that desire that you have to go create that. And so if you want to explore that any further with me, you can reach me on my calendar at SharonSeaberg.com/calendar. Would be my. And then Jill, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, and Sharon's amazing. As I was telling you guys earlier, when you stepped away, Sharon, I was like, I took my own notes when you were talking. Like I still like, yep, that's right. And she's just really good at what she does. So, and you guys both are really familiar with Better Balance, but for those listening to the replay, if you are, interested in getting your employer to start considering other ways that they can provide flexible work options, we would love to talk to a hiring manager, your hiring manager, an HR manager, to learn more about how to introduce this into your organization. You can reach out to me personally at JillJacobs@betterbalancelife.com or at betterbalancelife.com/employers. And then if you're interested in being a flex employee and saying, hey, this sounds great, how do I just sign up to do this? Then you are welcome to become a candidate with Better Balance, betterbalancelife.com/candidates. So.
While we were talking, I got an email from a recruiter wanting to know if I was interested in a tax accounting job.
There you go.
You never know.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Universe surprises you in magical ways when you let
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Okay.
thank you so much for being here. And I hope this was of value to you and that you learned some things. And if there's anything that we can do to assist, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for all your creative strategies on Flex Employees as well. I love your mission and
Thank you.
for creating better balance. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great day, you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.